about 6 or 8 years ago, I actually left this church. And before we start, I just used to think of body, soul, and spirit. Bear that in mind. Keep that in your mind at all times. 6 or 8 years ago, I left this church, and God told me and my wife that we should move. We should go to this other church. At the time, I didn't understand why, and basically, my soulish side of me didn't ever want to go. I've always called this my home, as I've told you, and every time I've been up here and give me testimony, I've always called this my home. And I didn't want to go, my soul, but my spirit deep down, God was saying, you have to go. So we moved to this other church. We were there about 6 or 8 years, and everything was fine. Got into everything. Then the situation at this church changed, and we felt God to say, it's time to go back home. It's time to go back to where you come from. And I thought, well, we have let God down here, because he told us to go there, but to come back here again, which I was happy about. I was the same as the Apostle Paul, where Paul says he wanted to be here with the Jesus, but he actually knew in himself that he had to work to do on earth. Yeah, I was in that kind of mood. I wanted to come home, but I knew I had to stay there to finish off what I had to do. So after these 8 years, we come back home, and it was fantastic, great. And then we started all these talks, series. We've just done the MOT, and then before that we've done a couple of others. But the one that really stuck in my mind, the one that really spoke to me, was going deeper into God. And after that talk, I started to go into his word. And they all said the best way to go into God's word is to teach Sunday school. Because you have to revise everything, find out, you have to search everything out. And like I said, like that is series going deeper into God's word. And then it suddenly dawned on me why we had to go to this other church, why our time, like while I was here, I was fine. God kept building us up. And then it seemed to get so far, and it just leveled out. Am I all right with this thing in here? It just leveled out. And God took us out. This is nothing to do with the church or the eldership. But God took us out of that church and put us into this other church, which was a smaller, consecrated church. And we started to do things in that church which we didn't, I know this is going to say, which we didn't have the opportunity to do in the church where we come out of. And by doing that, my spirit inside of me has changed. The guy who left here all them years ago is not the same guy that's come back. God has done the work in us. God has shown me, and now it all comes together. If you ever get a chance, Denise, my wife, has a fantastic testimony on the actual change coming out of one church and going back and to a coming back home. Fantastic testimony. You want to hear from her. Anyway, so that's it. Like God was working inside of me, and He's build me up. Right, look, if we, them two verses, Romans 8, I was going to read that. I was going to say, I haven't got my glasses, but they're on my head. Romans 8, verses 29 to 30. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestinated to be conformed to the image of his Son, in order that he might be the firstborn among many brothers. And verse 30, and those whom he predestinated, he also called, and those whom he called, he also justified. And those whom he had justified, he also glorified. Notice that in verse 29, it says, it doesn't say predestinated to be saved. It says predestinated to be conformed to the image of his Son. To understand this, think of a seed, whatever type of seed, corn seed, wheat seed. That seed is predestinated to be whatever it is. If you plant a corn seed, you won't get anything else but corn, because the DNA of that seed is corn, i.e. the dogs that produce puppies, cats that produce kittens. Everything produces after its own kind. Now we know that Jesus is the Son of God. When you have come born again, the actual Son of God's seed was planted inside your spirit, and that seed will produce an exact image of Jesus, Jesus, the Son of God. If you are born again, you have a Son of God's seed inside of you. I think we all are born again, aren't we, here? So that Son of God's seed of Jesus is in the side of us. Which means you are predestinated to be conformed to the image of God's Son. How you live your life will either help or hinder the process. Any farmer knows that to get the best out of his seeds, he has planted. He has to keep the weeds and the rocks out of it, and he has to cultivate it, feed it. And if you sow into your spirit instead of your flesh, that seed will grow into a mature Son of God. Philippians 1 verse 6, being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. There's a song, and it's called There's a Day. Now I ain't going to sing the song, or else I'll be in the worship team, and I've got enough to do. There's a song, There is a Day, and there's a very short line in that song. It's this: we will meet him in the air, and then it will be like him, That's the maturing of that seed that's in you. Until we meet it, we will be the exact image of the Son of God. And like I said when I first started, think of body, soul, and spirit. When the God created Adam and Eve, everything was perfect. At Adam was his spirit on the outside, and the actual soul was on the inside. That's why God could come down and they could walk and talk, because Adam's spirit was on the outside. Then what they call in some Bibles as the fall, sin come into the world. Sin, the soul come on the outside, and the spirit went on the inside. And the actual soul ruled the spirit. And what we have to do is get the spirit to a rule of the soul. Have you ever been in those church meetings where everything's going, you're praising God, your hands are in the air, you were worshiping Him, and that's how we should be. That is when our spirit comes out. That is when God comes alive in us. That is when God inherits us. We're just praising God, we're worshipping Him, and we don't care what's going on about. It's just the feeling the presence of God in our lives. And I tell you, the more you get into the Word, like, if you open the book, and for the very first time, it is just a storybook, but there's beyond that, deep beyond those verses, God is talking to us. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks. Thank you very much. Is that 15 minutes?